Welcome to another edition of From the Great Beyond. I'm Tolo, and I'm joined by these wonderful human beings. Maybe, maybe not.
Brody.
Alto.
Franco
Marihuano.
Jesus, doing the camera work.
It is a beautiful day to be alive.
Yes, it is.
Oh yeah.
Beautiful Saturday morning for those of you listening. We record this Saturdays around 11 a.m. We try to meet up, do a little early morning church before we get our weekend started.
Had a good Friday night, right, Mr. Lozano over there?
A good Friday night.
Seiks Lozano.
What happened?
Had a little DJ set yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, Fonqueros got down, huh?
Phoenix Funkeros played the Churchill event yesterday. It was a night event. It was supposed to be like an ice cream social slash car show.
Oh right.
And
Yeah, because they had like imports and
all kinds
rock
of stuff.
crawlers.
In memory of Winston, right?
What?
Winston Churchill.
Yeah, yep, that was it. Winston Churchill. Yeah, I was all in memory. I was all, yeah, that's what it was.
So is the Churchill like the new DeSoto market, where it's like kind of like a bunch of?
I think so, because DeSoto was indoors though, right? It was indoor. The shops are like, it's a big circle, and the shops, you walk face up and get your merchandise, and then you chill inside of the Churchill's like circle.
Okay.
It's pretty cool. I mean, the one thing is like, I've never been to the Churchill, so I didn't really know what to expect. And unfortunately, I didn't have my wallet on me because I had it in my backpack with all my other DJ gear. And it was like a place that cards you, which is weird because it's like an open space. So it was a little awkward, but yeah. It's cool times though. Phoenix Funkeros got down. They're quick shout out to them. They're gonna, the next thing they're doing is out in LA for the Funk Freaks 10-year anniversary, which
You gonna be there?
yeah, I'll be there. It's a big deal, man. I think the Phoenix Funkeros have worked pretty hard to get this. They got a nice
buzz
following and buzz going. So
well, they've been going at it for years, huh?
It's
I think like a year and a couple months.
yeah. I was gonna say it's about a year and some time, but that's a lot.
But they've been together, like getting down, though, right? Like,
Seiks Lazar is a funkero himself.
Yeah, I'm like the last Funkero. There's
you're the Lazar of the.
You just got
Funkeros.
sexed in.
yeah.
Oh, you had to roll the dice.
It was
You ate the donut.
Who'd you have to battle for a spot?
man, I didn't even try. KDIF though, big shout out to KDIF.
Big Franco.
Yeah, Franco. Shout out to Julio Alto. Like all of us. Worked there. Yep. Like we were all part of that, and like a lot of stuff was born out of there. So
Yeah, it's more like, I would say Seiks always been a part of the Funkeros, but like officially doing sets and stuff like that. That was probably going back like 2 years ago, huh? Because I think it was like November of 2017 when like Mars One and Funk Machine like did their first set, like literally like no experience, had a quick tutorial and just went on it just raw, literally. And I want to say November. And anyways, after that they fell in love with DJing. Seiks was doing hip hop, and he had a really good vinyl collection of funk that was more P-funk, and Durock's always been in it too, more of the boogie funk. And within maybe like 6 months of that first showcasing on KDIF, Mars was like, yo, we need to do something about this, and we should really start, and just really started hustling, doing like coffee shops, a couple graph events, outdoor events, wherever. And they started getting paid gigs.
Nice.
Durock was handling some business on the side. He came back stronger. That's when James kind of jumped on. He cleared up his schedule, and so it's really cool to see everything that's come, because even like the Funk Freaks coming to Phoenix, going on to KDIF,
that's big.
Yeah, and having their like that the relationship kind of solidify from there. But it was also I don't think they realized how much of influence they had, being funk freaks, to start a collective and what that means to start like it's real revolutionary. I think like when it comes to music and the funk scene.
The funk's making a comeback.
I don't think it ever left.
Never left, yeah.
Never left.
I think people have been funking since day one. Yeah,
that's true. It's influenced everything.
Yeah, you know,
like from Red Hot Chili Peppers, like all kinds of groups.
George Clinton,
all that funk in there, man.
And here's my thing. See, the way
West Coast music.
Funk ever went to rap.
Yeah. Oh, all that G-funk.
G-funk came from that.
You know, we could go on. We could talk about, you know, a whole. We could do a show about just all music and
funk had like a direct impact on that.
Yep.
They were like in the studio with.
And how they're into aliens too.
Let me know. Let me know.
Mothership.
Let me know if you're down before Wednesday. So for the Thursday KDIF show, I'll add it to the last 45 minutes.
That'll be dope. Yep.
So listeners, tune in to KDIF 102.9 FM South Phoenix.
Stand up.
I was actually on the website. It was working great. The whole episode played.
Nice.
I just went and checked it. I was up for some reason.
Dude, I had to double check that because it wasn't queued up right. So I just happened to double check, and it was like it was that day of.
That was spot on.
Yeah, that was fucking. It scared me because I was like, "What the hell?" I thought like everything had messed up.
It was cool though, listening to the old episode on there. I was like, "Fucking."
On KDIF.
We're doing some dumb shit, but
it's cool. So if people want to catch up, you know, they hear all the new stuff on Thursdays later on that night. You know, stream it on air.
Thursday mornings, catch the latest episode.
Yeah.
And then wait 100 and some weeks till it's on the radio. Man, you know, it's a crazy fun fact I found. I was just like Googling DJ and like the origins of DJing.
Oh, word?
And the first DJ party was thrown by Jimmy Savile, believe it or not, in 1943.
I was going to say that last time. Good pickup.
And then he's the first dude who ever used twin turntables.
That was how that fool got that job. He got the BBC show because what he did is he did a jazz. It's weird that I read about it, but he did a little jazz party, and all these fools were like, "Yo, Jimmy, why don't you start coming to all our jams and doing your thing?" And that's how he got in. So,
yeah. So I was just like researching DJing stuff, and
yeah,
that's true.
Also, I was tripped out though. That's the first thing that comes out. Is that our Jimmy Savile or?
That ain't mine.
It was our.
You
was
think
our
he
Jimmy.
You think he ever pressed any vinyl?
Who, Jimmy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did. So that's a fun fact of the day. So, Syke, you got any finds this week?
Yeah. Oh man, this is a good one.
Oh, I like that.
So,
I'll crate them up.
Remember last week? I didn't bring it because literally it would have filled up like this one whole table right here. But remember last week I came through with all the Pokemon stuff? So I forgot to tell you guys that I had left a lot of it there because I was unsure. I hadn't gone through it yet. So after I went home, I broke down the whole thing. So I went back today, and what they were was Trainer Elite box sets for the Pokemon. So there's every year there's like different genres of the game, and they switch up. They call it like black and white, XY. Sun, Moon, all these.
The video game you're talking about?
Well, they make them video games too, but they all start with the trading card game. Oh. So the cards. And remember how I brought in the cards and there was like those? Yep. So I bought the rest of the lot from the guy today, and me and Tian, my partner, just like broke it all down this morning, and everything matched up from what I bought last week to this week. So I completed 20 of those Elite box sets.
Oh shit!
Crazy. So like,
oh shit!
Yeah, that's like 20 complete box sets. So that's the dice, that's the separator cards, that's the actual cards that they came with. They're still sealed too.
So you sat there and separated everything?
Just smoked a fatty and then just took them all apart and then put them all together. And so I completed that whole collection, and it costed us $210 total.
Nice. What do you think the value of that is?
Costed.
Yeah.
What do you think the value is on that?
Value, I would say like easily, because I had did the flip for the first one, so we'll triple that. So about
nice.
$600 something dollars in there.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, each one of those box sets, I put them at $25, and there's over 12 of them, but 8 were complete when I left the house now. So what is that? That's like $200 just off of those boxes, not including the pins or like anything else. So
nice.
Yeah, potential to make more.
Yeah, always, man. So that was really cool, man. I was so happy to get out there this morning because we stayed up late. I didn't make it out to Lost Leaf because I was burned. After I had to wait for the generator and all that stuff, I was like, I got to go to the swap.
Too.
Yeah, it was hot, man. It was 100 degrees at like 10 o'clock last night. Yeah, I was just done. So when I went this morning, I was like really not like, I'm always into it, but you know, sometimes you get up super early. This time I was like kind of up, and I got it before it was bought. So that was a super good come up today, man. Yeah.
How early did you wake up today?
I got up late today, so normally I'm up at 4:45. I got up at 5:15.
Damn, bro, why are you waking up so late?
30 minutes is the difference between like a whole bunch of shit though out there. Yep, it's vultures out there, dude. So imagine like
I just missed it.
Somebody threw a carcass off of a truck, and then those things just hover over it, dude. And you'll see vultures fighting over one piece here, and you know. So
oh yeah, people are out there early on. Like 5 a.m., 4:30.
Shit, they're there at 4:30. I'm leaving at 4:45, so I get there at 5:15. That's like 45 minutes that they're just jumping on people, like you know, their shit.
That's dope.
So it's crazy, man.
I got lucky twice in a row at a Goodwill. So
What'd you get?
I found PlayStation 2s.
Yeah.
2 days in a row, bro. So I went one day and I got one.
Yeah.
Functional?
And then I went back and got another one. So the first one didn't have a price tag, so they sold it to me for $5, but it didn't work. But I'm gonna take it apart and put a Kodi in there and just put retro games and shit, but have it as a casing. Mm-hmm. And the second one was $10 with the remote,
and
that
worked.
Shit worked beautiful. I'm just thinking of that because I packed up all my video games. So that tub is full of video games, and I filled up a bigger one at home with none but video games and systems.
Damn.
And at my dad's house, I got a shitload more video games. I got my Dreamcast over there. I can't find my GameCube. I need to find that shit.
We gotta polish those up and put them up for display and shit.
Dude, I would.
I was gonna ask you if you're gonna do that because I got like parts to all that stuff too. So like Dreamcast, you know, PS2.
Bro,
like,
if you get games, let me know.
Oh, I get them all day.
I'll get them off you like shit that ain't worth nothing.
Well, if you want, because I leave them.
I'll pay you whatever it's worth, you know?
Yeah, like, well, I
leave
them
build
there.
The whole collection, like the whole library?
I just want to have as much shit as possible.
Yeah, dude, just let me know. Let me know what you're looking for, and I just grab it.
That's like my Jordans right there.
Yeah, it'd be legit to have like the whole library of the console.
Yeah.
All the Dreamcast games with the Dreamcast, you know.
That'd be hard.
That's hard as fuck, you know, because there's some that are really.
But you might get lucky and find the locker with everything.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
we did. So just I think the video game expo is maybe 3 or 4 years old now, and it just happened last week here in Phoenix, Arizona.
We were at Willie's Tacos. It's right across the street from the convention center.
Yeah, Willie's is right on the corner.
Yeah, and it was packed.
So we vended the first show here. Shout out to Neil. Neil's the one who puts those together, and we've been friends with him for years.
Was that the one in Mesa?
That's where it used to be held, but now it's downtown because it got so big.
Which one did you sell at, Mesa?
The Mesa.
Me too. So my first year, I made T-shirts.
You did?
Made a bunch of Zelda shirts and stood outside in the parking lot, bro.
I seen you.
No way.
Yeah, because
we were out there.
Yeah, so I was there set up, and I was like, look at those dudes slinging those shirts, and you guys were right in the front. Like,
right in the front.
Yep.
Had a bunch of Zelda screen printed shirts.
That's
dude.
funny.
We sold a few.
Yeah.
They kicked my ass out after a few hours.
I was gonna say, I was like, dude, watch the because I was like, they're hustling. I was like, they ain't gonna like that.
Yeah, the sales started heating up. And
you had a line.
Yeah, I did at one point.
Yeah, so that's when they fucking seen that like people started actually coming and buying shirts. They were just coming, dude, and that's when the securities came.
Dude,
like, I had to leave.
What'd they say? Like
you can't be selling
outside of the venue.
Yeah, you have to have a booth and all that. You have to be inside.
I have to have a booth.
They're like, I'm not on your property, or I don't know.
I was, dude. I was right in the front.
It's right there.
If you guys want to hear that quick story, 2 minutes
sorry
tops.
for interrupting. That reminded me of that.
You know what's dope about that? I want to talk to you about it after, because that was a good time. The first one, man. I was smoking in those bushes right there in the front. Yeah, but So here's a story real quick. We were out and we were doing some shopping, and we ran into this guy, and he had these 2 tubs at a yard sale, and they're like the 50-gallon tubs, like those big black with the yellow tabs on the side, and super heavy duty. So he pulls out these tubs, and I go, "What's in the tub?" And he goes, "Oh, I don't know yet." And then he opens the tub, and it was full of nothing but GameCube. So specifically GameCube only, all GameCube stuff. So I asked him how much he wanted for it, and he told me, he goes, "How about you give me $3 a game, and then the console, he's all, you can have it for $30." So after I added everything up, it was like $250. And then he found another little shoebox that had a 3DS in there with like 10 Pokemon games.
Fuck, dude.
So he added another $50 onto that. So it was $300 total. So inside of that GameCube bin, when we got home, I bought it because we were getting ready for the first annual Game On Expo. So I had everything at my house. I had collected for 6 months just video game stuff. So I found a NES game, the Power Glove, and I had that with which was really rare, complete. And then we had like Robbie the Robot. We had all these things that were just vintage Nintendo stuff. So when I look in the GameCube case, there's like almost every game you could think of. But there was one game in there. It was called Emblem of Fire. Fire Emblem.
Fuck yeah.
It was sealed.
Damn.
It was sealed, like with a plastic cellophane
right
still wrapped around it. So
that's money.
Yeah, we sold that joint for not like the little Samson, but that was our highest selling game at the time, and we sold it at the Game On Expo, and it was like a spectacle for people to see that thing sealed. And they asked where we got it from, and all this stuff, and it was just part of a collection. But yeah, that thing was sealed, and it was a trip that we laid out that GameCube collection, and it was more of a like how Alto was saying, it was more of like a museum. People looked at it first and was like counting the titles and was looking at it, and then they just started like buying them after that. Like, oh my God, I've never seen this game ever before. And it was, they made
big,
a little video of it. Yeah, it was sick.
Big.
But I did some custom Nintendos there that blew everybody away, dude, with the pastas. Yeah, I did a Pikachu. I did a Contra.
Took them apart, like the casings? And
the whole thing, controllers and everything. Yep, the controllers matched the console. I did a Blastoise Pikachu. I did Double Dragon. We did a Contra. The Contra one was sick, man. I did it 8-bit. Like the characters were 8-bit, all like digitally and shit. But yeah, that was a good time, man. Good one.
Contra. Contra's a classic. It's dope, man. The video game community, it's an awesome one, dude. And it's a big one, and it's like a multi-billion-dollar industry too that a lot of people overlook, I guess.
Yeah. No, that's for sure. Multi-billion-dollar industry.
Oh yeah,
and it's so much fun, man. It's so nostalgic. I see games, dude, and it like right away it takes me back to my childhood, man.
Yeah.
And some of my fondest moments, you know, were playing video games with my brothers and my friends, man.
Yep.
And then them coming over and
getting
slap on some
it,
X games on PlayStation, like whatever was on.
Tony Hawk.
Tony Hawk was a big one too.
That's
man.
huge. That's the U.S.'s #1 export is video games. So that's how we bust our gun here. We just make the most money exporting.
What do you guys make of like Donald Trump blaming video games for the shootings?
Typical political propaganda.
Trying to find a little backup.
It's true. I always played Tetris. Now I'm a carpenter.
Yep.
Exactly.
You know how many people are playing Call of Duty at its peak? Had 8.5 million players across the world, dude.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone in the world plays video games, shooting games.
Not everybody. Out of those 8.5 million,
and all other countries are.
I saw
normal.
I saw a graph where it was showing video game sales, and its relevancy to
shooting
mass shootings, and it was like South Korea was like number 2, like maybe by like 2/3 of the U.S. and they're just a fraction of like mass shootings in like the past. I forgot how many ever years, and it goes down from that, like Australia, all developed countries and stuff.
Yeah.
So it was really interesting. I mean, it's obviously a cop out, right? Like when we talk about where it's white supremacy, then that's what it is, and when it's a black person, like I saw somebody posted something about Donald Trump had said the shooter in Philadelphia should have never been able to buy guns. They were a criminal, this and that. And the response was, I don't even know who the shooter is, but I already know he's black. And apparently he was. I didn't look. I haven't looked into that, but it's very true, right? And it's this cycle that black and brown people are inherently violent, and the media doesn't cover the systematic oppression, or it doesn't cover facts of depression and what economic hardships puts on these communities that cause this violence. But yet when a wine person does it, it's mental illness, or
it's always something.
Well,
they give them an out.
Man. It's controlled. Mainstream media is controlled, and then we know by who already.
When in reality,
it's
a terrorist threat, dude. It's
all the NFL
domestic terrorism.
Nazis.
Check this out.
Immortal Technique wasn't lying when he called it the fourth branch of the government, man.
Yeah.
It's in there.
Terrorism.
No, the news. The media. Media news. Yeah.
They utilize it, man, to spread propaganda, to get people on their page.
Brainwash everyone,
to spread fear for the most part, man, because that's all they're showing right now is things that make people scared.
Exactly. And that's a way to control the people.
And when you're scared, you don't think rationally. You start assuming and all kinds of shit. And you can create like a mass anxiety type thing and shit.
That's why I can't watch the news or none of that.
I don't watch.
I hate watching that stuff because it's the same stuff that are addicted to watching the news,
and they go to sleep with that shit on.
Wake up and watch
on
it.
The news channels all fucking day, dude, and then it's crazy, man. And it's like that's not all that's happening.
Right. Yeah, there's people that are on Fox News 24/7.
Yeah, that's crazy.
They believe everything that they're telling them.
And then there's people on the other side as well, on the left side, that all they do is watch left
CNN
side,
or whatever.
and they get fully indoctrinated to that idea.
Read The Guardian,
And if you're not with them, you're with the other one. And it's like, come on, man.
And what's really interesting when you really break it down, so there's people who they don't watch the media, right, for their news, because there'll probably be a difference between what is media and what is news. Like this, what we're doing right now is considered media. Right, so people can get information from us, and you research it and all this other stuff.
Look into it.
But and like you're your best source, right? Conversations, right, of what we're talking about.
Politics creates that environment right there.
And but I think what's really important of what's being created, like more than just spreading fear, is you hear that all the time. I hear that from so many people, like, oh, I don't watch the news. Like, they would rather stay dumb and out of the know than, because they're like, the news is too depressing, or I don't get involved in politics, or I don't, and then so
you you say they're playing the gray.
You become disenfranchised, right?
Yeah.
Then that's what they want, and then so you got the left and the right and all these other people that are making decisions about us, for us, right? And that's like that double-edged sword. That's a double-edged sword, because people aren't involved and people are disengaged, but that's the plan that they set out, right? For us to stay dumb, for us to stay uninformed, and to not have these discussions, because I know Alto's not, but like if or anybody, right? If you're on the right side, I'm on the left side, I'm not even gonna talk to you because you're so blah blah blah. Instead of just understanding,
because you're a Democrat.
Yeah,
I'm a Republican. You're a Democrat. We can't chill. Like,
it
gets that crazy. Like, I was tripping out.
Like not talking.
Orlando calls it or it's basically the Bloods and the Crips, but I forgot how he says it, and it's
I got one point to add. When you guys were talking about the white privilege and everything, this just happened. I saw it on the news last night before I fell asleep. Did you guys hear about the guy that walked into Walmart fully armored?
Yes, and testing to see if his rights.
So check this out. So the point that they were making, I forgot the comedian's name, but he was saying, oh, you want to talk about white privilege? If that was a brown or a black person, they would have been dead. And this guy was able to walk out, and the cop that was saying the interview, he's like, this young man was very lucky. Like, they never, tackled him. They never did anything to him.
Didn't they buy him like coffee too or something? Like a frappuccino?
Yeah, but I know that it was like...
Church.
He said he was just testing his rights,
and he walked into a Walmart with a fully
kitted out.
Yeah, fully decked out. Yeah, like he had metal.
And the other thing that's really cool, what's really is the one that happened in Cleveland. They're like that's a prime example. Within 32 seconds, he shot like 20, or I don't know. See, I don't even know the numbers. That's how frequently this happens.
Conspiracy theories.
But how the police were there within 30 seconds, right, to shoot him dead, and they're like. that they are the good guys with the guns, quote unquote. You're saying good guys with guns were going to stop the bad guys with guns. It's like the good guys were there, and he still killed like 9 people. He still shot all these people. So it's really interesting to see, and then how more than just and that's actually what I was talking to Seiks about last week, is when we were talking about all the gun violence last week on last week's episode, which actually I like the way that the conversation went, where it wasn't about the shooters, it wasn't about the death actually, and it wasn't about racism and politics. And if you really go back and listen to last week's episode, where the discussion went about violence and actual gun control, I thought that's really important. So that's why I really want to make that difference between what is the media and what is the actual news. And when you think about stuff like that, and how again these conversations lead, but that was exactly like what the difference between white privilege, white supremacy, all these different things. And it's not even to say, again, to add more of a divide between us, and we're all minorities here, we're all minority men, but it's not to create a more divide between literally black and white, but to understand the structure that is set. And one of the things I want to talk about is the light rail, and how that is a structure based off of white supremacy, but it's ran by
What's the light rail?
black and brown. Do you want me to get into that now, or we could?
We can, yeah. I mean, we're there. First, explain to.
There you go, Franco. Kick it off.
The light rail.
So, about 10 years ago, Phoenix developed a light rail system throughout the downtown area that connected downtown, parts of Tempe, and parts of North Phoenix. And it's basically an electric rail system, a car system that's above ground, that people, instead of paying to get on the bus, they can get on this. And it's on a track, and it works with...
Is it faster than the bus, or is it...
It can be, yeah. It can be.
Is it more economical? I mean, it's not using gas and stuff like
exactly.
that. Exactly.
It's electric and not gas, and it's just another form of transportation.
Cool.
And the lights usually favor the light rail to pass through, so it can be a little bit faster, and it's better for larger events like at ASU or
like a
downtown, the ball games.
Exactly. Takes you right there.
A Cardinals flop.
Yeah, and you could easily add more light rails, send more light rails on at a time.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that was put in place about 10 years ago, about 2008, I believe.
Yeah.
Right before the last economic crash, and we kind of get into that. But anyways, now what's going on is I'm from South Phoenix. I'm born and raised. I'm third generation. And if you don't know much about South Phoenix, it's basically it's a low income minority part of town. It shares, when you talk a lot about economic depression and disenfranchised, everything that I just went over policing, South Phoenix literally checks off all these boxes. And that's the system that I'm going to be talking about, because the light rail is going to be extended to South Phoenix, and this has been in the plan since the 90s. And what ended up happening is the process in which it was taken, the community is really fighting back against at this point. Proposition 105 is on the ballot. A no vote will continue the light rail construction as planned, and a yes vote will stop it. So already there, it's confusion.
Do you think they flipped that on purpose? Yeah. So that the people that don't know how to read or that don't want to read will just easily vote yes?
Automatically think no means no for the light rail.
And they also coupled it together with the pension to rebuild, put money into the pension plans for employees, for the city employees or something like that. But again, it's just to confuse people. But long story short, or make a long story even longer, this ballot's on the initiative, right? So, and what basically happened, again, to give you to paint this picture for you, is to actually really go back and really understand the political environment of South Phoenix. And again, all this stuff, when we're actually talking about disenfranchisement and we're talking about a system that's built in place of literally everything that we've been talking about. So there's environmental racism, which is of all of South Phoenix. In South Phoenix, in all of Maricopa County, 5 of the industrial waste sites are found in South Phoenix. And that's for Maricopa County, not just the city. And so that's sewage, that's dumps, that's all this
What about
stuff.
when they kill like the animals and
so that's the Rio Salado, which is the river bottom that we know. That's where they so the dog pound would take the animals and just literally throw them there. And I had uncles that
like burn them, right?
No, they bury them.
Oh, bury them. Okay.
Like there's like mass graves of animals.
Yeah.
And what's even worse is in the Rio Salado. There's they used to legally be able to dump chemicals in there. And my uncle, who was one of these employees, would literally, his job was just to push these barrels into this like cesspool of just chemicals and powders, and stuff would fly in his face, be popping, and he got sick from it. You don't know what chemicals are in there, like oils like splashing on his face. He doesn't even know what kind of liquid it is, and literally just pushing it constantly into this tar pit, that is what they called it. And then to further that more, just down the street, South Phoenix is known for being originally an agricultural part of the city. That's where we grew corn, cotton. That's where we grew the orchards,
flowers even.
And so that's just covering the environmental racism. Then there's the over policing, right? Which is a bunch of different stuff. But anyways, what's going on? So to bring that up to modern day, with the light rail coming in, what's been going on is, since this has been going on since the 90s, they do this thing called redlining. This is the city of Phoenix and Valley Metro, where they literally put a red line around South Phoenix on a map, and they tell developers, don't build here. You don't invest your money into this part of the city because you're going to lose money. That's a bad investment. Don't do that. So what ends up happening is South Phoenix, it stays poor, right? Because we have what's called food deserts, which the residents don't have access to nutritional food. So like you hear about this all the time on the reservations, where they just eat ramen noodles and hot Cheetos, right? Because that's all there is in Coke. Whatever's available at the corner stores, and so there's not access to that. Proper education is also a big thing. You get Roosevelt School District, which is a public school district in South Phoenix, is like the worst in the nation, because Arizona is like consistently the bottom 3 for public education, and of that system, Roosevelt's at the bottom of that. So when you really take into consideration what that means for our kids, I mean, you went to school there, right, Psych? Yep. In that system, I was supposed to go there, but actually, my parents paid for me to go to a private school in South Phoenix. And
Frank was a private school.
Yeah, yep. Great school.
Nice.
I went to South after that, so I wasn't all the way private or charter school raised. But that's actually a really important part of me going to private school, is understanding the structure. And we talk about white privilege, but it's also a privilege that I had to be able to get a better education, but also be part of a church where a lot of decisions were based around. So because I was part of a church, now this is where we come into like segregation. Here's where we come into actually like the disenfranchised part. Because if you weren't part of a church, right, you're not considered part of the community. If you didn't go to this better school and you were one of the ghetto kids or whatever, your family, because you weren't worthy enough, right, you couldn't be part of this discussion. So and understanding that and seeing that right from the inside, like really seeing like the mistreatment and how other people aren't included within decisions of us. This is our community, right? These are our parks. These are everything. So anyways, and to understand that as a kid and as a teenager is, I think, really, really important. But also shows a testament of how fucked up a system is, that a child that's privileged to everything that's good can notice that, right? So anyways, back to the light rail. So all this is going on, all this redlining, environmental racism, property values dropping, value of life is dropping. All the meanwhile, these developers are buying up land. They buy up land. It's super cheap. Now that the light rail's coming in, now that they're able to make the money, now they're selling land, now they're putting up the condos, now they push out the families that are there. Now all these people who are having to rent these homes because they weren't given a privileged education or a good job, they can't afford to live in a better house, or they can't afford like an actual afford a way of living and a way of life that can give them the structure to these places, right? And that's how they're forced into these sorts of economies. So when it's saying poor people need to stop being poor. It's like, no, there's so much more than that, right? And so then now, again, bringing it even more into current times, what's going on is there's a gallery on the south side called the Sagrado that's run by Sam Gomez. So the Sagrado is actually backed by Remax, a real estate company, who is backed by St. Catherine's, the church that I was just talking about. The church, which is in cahoots with the well, it's not so much the church, but more Remax, which is in cahoots with this Brown development fund called Rasa Development Fund. So what happens is all this grant, all this money was going towards these organizations like Rasa Development Fund, but none of that money was given back into the community. None of that money is invested back into the community. It's in the pockets of people like Tommy Espinoza and all these kind of like chairmen of the boards who say, oh, we're not getting paid, but they make money off these investments. They make money off these development. Like it's a really, really shitty, gross system that's based off the oppression of the community that they're from, right? So then they use somebody like Sam to start this gallery to say, oh, we're reaching out to the Chicana women of this area. We're reaching out to brown POCs. We're reaching out to all these people. But then they pick and choose. Again, it's a privilege. Because I've been there where they told black people, you're not invited into this space. This little, not Sam specifically, not Sagrado, but this little collective they're part of called the SOFO Collaborative, South Phoenix. So if that isn't like gentrifying terms right there, they're trying to change South Phoenix to SOFO. That's what they're literally like pushing. And
are you kidding me? They're gonna call it SOFO?
Yeah, that's literally what they call themselves.
Stand up,
dude. It's a lot of bullshit. But then you have, again, someone like the Sagrado who's saying we have an open door policy for POCs, for people of color. But it's like, no, you don't. If you literally told black groups not to come, you literally told LGBT groups and people who represent these groups not to come. So it's like, how are you really representing the community? And then you further that, and you actually go down Central Avenue, and dude, there's so many fucking signs that say vote yes 105, vote yes on 105, vote yes 105. Businesses and just along houses. And Sagrado puts up signs that say vote no on 104. And it's like, how that's cool that you believe that, but how can you actually say you're part of the community if you're literally not backing anything people are saying down here? But then it's because this fool is sucking off the dude of Remax who's telling him, oh, you could stay here for free and run whatever you want out of this gallery, but just make sure brown people are here. Make sure that we can check off these boxes so it looks like we're talking to the community. But a lot of those people aren't even from that community specifically.
It's a magic trick.
Yeah. And it's pulling that wool over your eyes. And then so they're at these tables. They're at these tables saying, we're representing the community. Look at these businesses we're talking to. And again, that's how they get the money, and that's how they start getting a saying into like what's going on that, again, doesn't represent. So that's how gentrification happens. These are brown people that are doing it, but on this white supremacist structure. We can say, support black and brown businesses all fucking day. We could say support women and give them our money. But if our white supremacy says, okay, now we got all the seashells, now this is our form of currency. We got Bitcoins now. We got cryptocurrency. You have all the money. Cool. We don't use that anymore. All these are structures that are used to oppress us that we abide by. That we say, okay, we're going to do that instead of changing it on them as to like what we really want. And this light rose a really good example of that to show, and again, I could go more into it, but in that really brief situation of how this has been going on for years, and then how they use our people against us, or to say, like Sam, he's not even from the south side, he's from the west side, right? But that's exactly what it is, and when we look at it, that's just on the city level, and when we look at it on like bigger economic levels, when we see like somebody like Trump, he's just a puppet. He's literally just a puppet. Nobody respects him, or but they may listen to him. And
I do, Holmes.
You know what?
That probably goes on everywhere, right? Gentrification.
People that worship him.
Oh yeah. But nobody. But that and that's the whole thing, right? Is what the reason why Phoenix was able to get this grant to build this light rail to continue it.
Yeah, how'd they get the money?
It's a federal grant. It was a federal grant that came. It was from the a transportation budget. So what ended up happening was years ago, before officially the money came, they said the federal government was like, okay, Phoenix, your people are dying. Your people literally in South Phoenix are dying 15 years earlier than any part of the city. Because, again, when I said there's food deserts, there's no adequate access to health care, all this stuff. They're literally dying 15 years faster than people in Paradise Valley, Scottsdale, Tempe. Think about that shit. Okay? They're saying people are dying from heart disease. People are dying from respiratory problems. People are dying from diabetes.
That's nutrition, right?
Exactly. But remember when I was talking about
all that lack of?
Remember when I was talking about the dumps? Remember when I was talking about the
exposure
waste sites?
to all the nuclear?
Remember the Broadway fires that would happen along Broadway? Chemicals were burning and nobody knew what the chemicals were, and people were breathing that in.
What do you mean Broadway fires?
So in the 90s and early 2000s,
there's a bunch of riot fires.
There's a bunch of junkyards there.
I know what you're talking about.
And so between like 35th Avenue,
they were burning tires, is what they were burning. Like,
but
remember
a bunch
that?
of there's just random
it was
fires.
Like tires and a lot of those.
Yeah. Not 90% of Maricopa CO2 emissions come out of South Phoenix. Think about that. So again, made my skin crawl.
I want to make a connection. So he just said Trump was a puppet. So talking about the family, remember you asked us to all watch that family documentary?
Oh yeah, did you watch it?
Yeah,
that's just nuts, right?
So that's what I'm gonna talk about. But it goes into Trump and how he the puppet. Well, I'll get into it, but yeah, I'll let Franco tell.
So anyways, all this stuff was going on, and with I lost my train of thought, but with the fires and health. And so so the federal grant money. So they're saying like your people are dying. Why? What's going on? So you need to do environmental studies, health studies, all this stuff that's going on. And they said everything you've been doing so far, the boxes you've been checking off, you need to do that differently because again, that's disenfranchisements, all this stuff. You need to do this system differently. Don't just go the way you've been doing it. But that's what's basically happened is Valley Metro, the city of Phoenix, they've just been going through checking about, okay, a nonprofit group, you're working with businesses? Okay, cool, you got a gallery? Okay, cool, okay, cool, let's check these boxes, right? You're doing all this stuff, but it's nothing different. It's exactly what's happened down Roosevelt Row, right, where now it's very whitewashed. It used to be like a Latino barrio, right, with a bunch of Hispanic families. And then artists came in and revitalized it, and then they got pushed out, and now there's just condos, and
it's
very gentrified.
Sold it to them cheap.
That's what's going down Grand Avenue, and that's what they're trying to do down
right
Central
there on 7th Ave and right off the freeway.
Yeah,
too. Those new condos they built right in front of that restaurant.
Yep,
the Mexican
check
restaurant.
it out. Like you could literally go from what's happening down Roosevelt Row to what's happening down Grand to the future plans of what's happening down in South Phoenix.
Even the car wash that was there forever.
The one Lalo's painting?
Right.
That one?
Yeah.
Yeah, got torn down for
Starbucks.
Starbucks
There now. Yeah. Like, what the fuck?
When did they vote? When did they vote for that?
I think the last day is on the 26th.
Of which month?
This month. August. So if you got your early ballot, you got to go vote yes. Vote yes. And
yes,
but
on the light rail?
Yes on the light rail to stop it.
To stop.
Because and here's the main reason why, like whether it's development, whatever people believe, I believe this can bring a lot of money to the city. Don't get me wrong, it can help bring money into South Phoenix. It can open a lot of doors, but not the way it's been done. Not the way it's being done. Not the lack of community involvement. Yeah, because it is saying this is what we're doing for you. This is, as opposed to like, let's build this with you and the community, what you guys have in mind. Because of it, and everybody at this table says, I don't vote because it's
fake,
It's
dude.
fake, exactly. Yeah. And we know that. And one of the biggest things I say, especially with a lot of nonprofit groups, I say, we got to get out and vote. We got to do this. How do we mobilize South Phoenix? I say, what you got to understand is like South Phoenix, people from South Phoenix, a lot of people, not everybody, and communities. But it's saying, here's why we stand up, because no matter if it's a policy change or a law, the laws have never been put in place to help us. They've been put in place
to check us.
And to really be like to imprison you.
Yeah.
So we have been forced to just stand the fuck up, and we're gonna do whatever it is we're gonna do. You're gonna outlaw weed. We're still gonna smoke it.
Oh, we've been smoking.
Yeah. You're gonna outlaw. You're gonna outlaw cruising. Cruising's been outlawed in South Phoenix. We still have cruising events.
Yeah, every Sunday.
Like, think about that shit.
Hey, there's signs posted up that says
no cruising. Yeah.
Cruz will be pissed
Try
next door.
stopping the mural game.
She would not like that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff when you really see like what they're doing is it's been a lack of artist engagement, right? Where they're saying we're doing art. Even the fact to get graffiti writers as their contracts for their art to be on the light rail was a battle in itself. To get not even graffiti writers, but to get local artists from Phoenix and South Phoenix to be properly represented. From other states, other countries.
They'll bring like New York artists, German artists to like graph up and paint. When you have a whole like community of dope ass artists that have been here for decades now.
Yeah, and to get that, I think you're a part of some of that too, like some of those discussions. But I know Seiks was, but to just get people that we know, not even that we know, but that's representative of the community onto that. And but again, that shows how much there is such a separation between a structure and the people who it's intended for, because that bridge isn't there. And I think that's what's really huge right now when you think about a lot of conspiracy theories. There is truth behind it because of structures like this that are based off white supremacy, that is based off of colonialism, that is based off of definitely off of corporation and capitalism, right? And when we really start to understand all these different structures, we actually start to see why these things are happening. Why, like stuff like the family and Trump, what Seiks going to talk about. But yeah, I just want to wrap that up and be like, there's a lot more information. If you want to hit me up, Franco_602 on Instagram,
and further discuss this situation.
Yeah, because I could go on. Yeah, some thigh tickler pics. No, but definitely hit me up, and I could just tell you more about it. Because I think I monopolized enough of time, but yeah.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, no, that's I tell people now, like, I used to not vote and think, oh shit, it's rigged, like it doesn't count. But the way I started seeing it, reading the documents and all that shit is like, well, it's fixed, right? It is rigged and shit, but that just means that the game is fixable. Yeah. That means that we can rig it in our favor. That means it's possible because they've rigged it in their favor. So let's start tipping the fucking scales over, and we can rig it on ours and start voting and putting people in from our communities that we know and can trust and all that shit.
And not only that too, I think it's also to further your point, it's whether we have a decision out whether Trump's elected, right? Because that's all debatable. But we do have a say with the more of a local level. Like, do we want this light rail to come in?
Exactly.
And we can say yes or no.
It's a community vote.
Yeah, and stuff like that, we do have control over. Like, who do we put on the board of our on the education for our children, right? We do have control over that. So we look small and then we think big, and yeah, and then that's very poignant on what you said, Alto, because it's just really sad that the system they put in place is working, and it's working against us.
It's sad how like gangs work, how the drug game worked. Yeah. Like how all their little ploys and plans that they did and we now know are true and shit. They're not conspiracy theories. We do know that they brought cocaine in. We do know that they fucking use it to fucking fund their wars in the Contras.
Yeah.
We know all this shit to be fact now and shit. So.
Well, they came out and said it,
Yeah, well, there's documents, there's court hearings. They assassinated Martin Luther King Jr. Like it all came in. There's documents to prove it all and shit. Like
Al Martin.
So it's like fuck it, It's obviously rigged against us, man. We got to get together and shit, and there's no other way.
Especially people like us who are, some of us didn't graduate high school. Some of us aren't parents. Some of us, we don't own property, right? And so we are not considered part of the community because we don't contribute We don't contribute in this structure of what is, you should be doing this. You should have an education. You should be, married. You should this. Yeah. And the further and further you're removed from that, the further and further you're removed from a conversation of actual decision making.
I think it'd be interesting to see like a campaign with no parties and just ran like you actually saw the administration or that he was picked out and
person versus person.
You valued them. Administrations against you have your whole team set up already.
Yeah.
And no Democrats, no independents, no Republicans, no
I'm
nothing.
Come with Franco.
Let's just go on the merit of your administration. What have you done while you sat in Congress?
Yeah.
What did you do while you were doing this? Like instead of we're gonna do this.
Yeah. Or like, I'm your savior, vote me. Like, I'll bring you guys out.
None of that shit, man.
It's like, no, man, we don't need a white savior. We just need someone who'll listen to what the people need.
Like debates, like not these little reality TV shows.
Bernie Sanders out there promising the world and shit.
Oh yeah, Bernie Sanders.
What do you guys think about Bernie Sanders? You think he's too old?
I don't think it's possible what he's saying with the way that America has been set up, but
I think he could do some change though.
But
bring some change to the table.
He's not lying when he's saying if we were to cut the military spending, man.
Yeah. No, a lot of the shit he's saying is real, but like you're saying, I think it's gonna be impossible for him to fulfill.
If we were
a lot
to
of
redirect shit,
like,
the whole tax on Wall Street, on all the trades and shit, to add like a micro tax on it and shit, where that's like fractions of a cent on each transaction.
Barney's gonna be his vice president.
All right, giving out hugs, Bernie. Free hugs.
Bernie and Barney, Barn Dog.
Barney, wait.
Talking about Barn Dog.
Homie Barn?
Mr. UFC.
Dog.
Yeah, but it's
Barney Niner.
It's too radical as shit.
What he wants to change is too radical because
it's like a whole 180. Like we're gonna go this way now, shit.
There's too many checks and balances for their system to change radically like that. So the bills have to go through and they have to be passed. But obviously, that's where they get it all entangled, where nothing ever happens good or fast because everything that we try to do that's right, it never goes through, and the bad stuff just happens like that.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the congresswoman, she actually put a really good she put it in perspective when she said it doesn't matter if we tax the top 1%, 90%, and I forgot how
taxes are going.
Yeah, how many billions we get from them. It's if we're not telling the politicians on how to spend it, it's still not gonna work. And I was like, damn, that's fucking true.
Could bring in $1 trillion extra.
Yeah, no,
it's just gonna disappear
into the military.
Cayman Islands and offshore accounts that we've discovered.
Yeah, like with the Epstein.
Dude, Dolo had some notes on that, right?
Yeah,
I saw that. Epstein suicide.
Yeah, that's the biggest conspiracy going on right now.
Dude, that's a hot one.
Let's get into that, man.
I actually had a video. See if you can look it up while I get my notes out. Franco.
Who?
Here, I'll give you my phone. It was a Giuliani one.
Rudy Giuliani?
Yeah. Are you connected to the Wi-Fi here?
I think so.
You need a paper? Your notes?
I got my notes right here. Okay. Just look up Giuliani Epstein, and then just beam it up there. No, I was just going through like conspiracies that they're talking about with the suicide, the facts. Here's the facts that I've gathered. I try to call them facts because I gathered them from like CBS.com, ABC. Yeah. So I don't think they're gonna publish bullshit. They publish the info as they get it too. It might be bullshit, it might not be. Yeah. And also got it from some other websites.
They're not the ones altering the facts if they are.
But I try to stay away from the conspiracy websites. They
go way out there.
Yeah, it's
just assumptions.
So this could be like it's something to look into at the end of the day. Something to look into. So yeah, I don't know if you guys heard that Epstein actually had broken bones in his neck, and they said that's more that happens more often with a strangulation rather than a hanging. And the way he hung himself still got me tripping though. Like they give him the blankets are basically made out of paper, and they had to check on him every 30 minutes, but these guards were falsifying that shit. They would crash out in the office, and so these fools got put on paid leave. And I don't know if they got fired or paid leave.
They got transferred, no?
I think they're back. Yeah, they're back to work already, I guess.
They're watching El Chapo now?
They're watching El Chapo. Yeah,
Chapping now. They call him Chapping.
Right, that's next, right? El Chapo got out.
I think we're officially the most corrupt government. I mean...
So, yeah, He was taken off suicide watch maybe a week before he committed that.
They said they were understaffed.
And their employees were
Their workers were
overworked.
overworked.
Did you see the guy that they put him in the cell with?
That buff dude?
Yeah, he's a big old buff dude.
Jason Statham?
He was an ex-cop too.
Wait, which one?
He was a big old buff dude. Like, Joe Rogan was talking about it.
That fool choked them out.
That's what they said. Joe Rogan.
Yeah, he
mentioned something about somebody. He was just talking how strong the dude was, and it looked like he would be able to lift the guy up and just choke him out.
Have his way with them and shit.
And then just say,
straight up.
Those guards are trained to take fools down, man.
No, the prison, his cellmate. That's what you're talking about, right?
Right, his
cellmate. It was an ex-cop, and he was like a big old roided up looking guy.
Man. That prison system is so corrupted. Like,
it is.
Gangs, anybody, you can be touched anywhere in there, man. And guards are always paid and shit to look the other way or participate.
My uncle was locked up. He did some stuff, but he was he ran some things, and he tells me stories of how
your uncle did.
Yeah, like even one time when one of the craziest stories is he said, I'm not gonna say exactly what he said, but it was a day his wife at the time served him with divorce papers, and was like, let's kill some, I want to kill some people, and they started a riot at the jail, just like that, just because he said, and I forgot how many cops or how many officers got hurt and stuff, and he would just say just that what's it called, that prison vengeance of people who are molested kids and stuff like that, what would happen to them. So it was crazy, how easy it was to get a message in there, and to have somebody taken out.
Yeah. So the conspiracy is even I can't get the audio to play, but Giuliani was talking about on this interview was that he thinks it's impossible, bro, for this shit to ever have happened, and this dude's been in that prison. He was the mayor of New York, so he knows that prison inside out, and he's like, dude, it's just impossible. They don't give you the proper tools. That dude asked him, isn't the fucking blanket made out of paper or some shit? And he's like, yeah, dude. He's like, he's the most high profile inmate.
Yeah.
How are you just gonna leave him alone? He's like, I find it impossible. He's like, well, wait till we get further details. So this was before the autopsy information was revealed.
Yeah.
But they were talking about how he had a broken bone. It's like by the Adam's apple, and man, right there where he's fucking touching. And they said that shit happens more with strangulation, and they said they heard somebody shrieking and making noises, bro. So they're thinking maybe but
he's struggling and stuff.
All right, the autopsy said, yeah, but we gotta get it through here, or else it's not gonna. Oh, get the mic on there. Yeah. But then we're not gonna be able to listen to it here. Get that mic on there.
I could plug
Pause
it
for now.
Too.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
You wanna plug it in there?
What are you plugging in?
The coaxial, like the head. Yeah, that one right there. There you go.
Yeah, that shit's a trip, man. So everything's with strangulation, and the guards weren't watching, but now they're saying that he had a cellie too.
A cell phone,
he had a cellmate.
Oh yeah, the cell. I was sorry, a cell phone.
Did they have him alone?
Oh, a big old cellmate, bro.
And he was an ex-cop.
And then they have him alone.
Yeah.
I think that dude's facing the death penalty too. The dude who strangled him.
They don't give a fuck already.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that shit.
Yeah.
Placed on suicide watch, not checked. Yeah, so it's that conspiracy is on both sides too. That's what's crazy. This is one of the universal conspiracies, because the Republicans have their own conspiracy. Donald Trump was fucking
I got that.
Retweeting conspiracies, dog.
His top 10 conspiracies.
That's his homie though.
Yeah.
What up?
That's his homie.
Yeah, but what he's saying, he's blaming Hillary and shit, reposting reposting shit. He didn't type it in himself, but he reposted it, retweeted it.
They were all homies.
That's the same thing as him saying it.
It's funny. Like Democrats are like, like fuck it. If Bill Clinton did shit, if the Clintons did shit, they should burn this and that. But like the Trumpers are all like, it's all the Clintons. Like Trump's fucking innocent, this and that. And it's crazy how brainwashed people are. Like for reals, dude. It's sick.
Yeah. So on July 23rd, he was found nearly unconscious on the ground with injuries to his neck. He was in the fetal position, and he blamed it on his cellmate. He said that dude was trying to fucking kill him, but they placed him on suicide watch. That's when they placed him. And I think by like July 30th or August 1st is when they took him off of suicide watch. The convicted pedophile claimed that the cop roughed him up, and that's how they got him off suicide watch. So he blamed it on the cop after. I don't get it.
Well, the cop that he was locked up with, right?
Yeah, I guess so. With the correctional officer.
That's crazy.
So that's a twisted story, man. Like you can't. I don't think nobody's ever gonna believe everything that they're gonna give us on this story.
But at the time though, at the time of his suicide, he did not have a cellmate, right? He was by himself, right?
Or was he removed after the complaint?
Oh, the cameras didn't work. That's another thing Giuliani said. He's like, how are the cameras not going to work? He's like, this is your most high-profile inmate.
It's evident. What's going on.
It's like too obvious.
Inside job.
Are you plugged inside?
Like he is.
He got it right there, ready to go.
He's
plugging it to your phone, yeah.
Oh.
He's an elite financier, man. Like he has
started over.
He's in that bubble. He's up in that upper echelon.
Yep.
Is it this one?
And and one of the
Do
theories.
you think he was partying by himself?
No,
like
and the theory is just like the mob. In order to keep him quiet, you got to off him. So he can't drop those names of those high-profile people.
Can't even take the risk.
No. The Metropolitan Correctional Center, known as the MCC, Lower Manhattan, you know it well.
I saw it being built.
You saw it being built.
Yeah. Sure, it's connected to the U.S. Attorney's Office.
How would you explain it to viewers? How would you describe it? Well, what's happening on a Saturday night inside this jail?
So it's a jail rather than a prison. So people don't know the distinction between it. The jail is a place you hold people when they're awaiting trial. A prison is where you put them when they finally get sentenced. Those are more permanent places. Frankly, they're easier to handle, prisons. Jails are harder because they're very transient. Population in, out every day. However, there's absolutely no excuse for this. What happened here, to me, is mind-boggling. It's impossible to happen. It's a relatively small facility. This isn't Rikers Island, which is 15,000 people in virtually a city with many, many different buildings.
On its own island?
Yeah, one building. Almost everything is within view, if you want it to be, of the guards.
Everything.
This argument over whether he was on suicide watch or not is like silly, because if he wasn't on suicide watch, he should have been on watch. The guy was a high-risk prisoner, wasn't he? I mean, he's a guy that there are probably 50 very important people that have a motive to kill him. We don't even know who they are. I'm not alleging that any of the people named, it's true. But we know there are some people
I bet you Giuliani was
that are in a lot of trouble because of Epstein. They know who they are.
He talks like he knows something.
There's tremendous motive to kill him.
It's almost like an
Number two,
Agatha Christie.
whether they want to kill him or not, prisoners don't like him. Right? He's alleged to be maybe the most notorious child predator of our generation. Prisoners are strange. Perverts they don't like. So they'll kill a pervert just to kill a pervert. Second, he's a possible rat also. There's a lot of talk about him testifying. I believe you have to do that. That's good for the government. They believe you're a rat when you do it. So you got three strong reasons why this man may be done in. He might commit suicide. He apparently attempted it, or he was attacked. That threat still remained even after a week. And the third one is maybe a prisoner on his own is just going to take him out like they did with Whitey Bulger. I do not understand how anyone can explain not having him under 24-hour surveillance or not checking the camera constantly. So that leads to all the speculation that we all are upset about.
Is there a camera?
But we created the vacuum for that crazy speculation.
Is there a camera?
Of course there's a camera. It wasn't working, they said. It wasn't working. The camera wasn't working.
Damn, there you have it.
Not too long ago, Fox News and all that was bashing people that thought people had killed Sandra Bland in the jail.
Yeah.
And they were saying that it was possible to commit suicide.
Check it out, guys. Look at this. Here goes. Here
Pass it around.
There goes the picture of his
That's a cellmate right there.
Celly right there.
Big old dude looks like Vin Diesel.
John Cena and shit.
It's like a big old Vin Diesel looking
feared
dude.
hulking ex-cop.
So there you have it. There's what we know so far. I guess what everybody knows, or at least what they're feeding the public.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think because Giuliani wasn't he the
he was the mayor in New
not
York.
DOJ, what's it called, the Attorney General for New York?
Yeah.
So he I think that was his role before mayor, but so he knows. But that's what's kind of interesting too, because Giuliani's pretty fucked up himself in the sense of how he backed up a lot of stuff that Trump did.
Still does. Doesn't he work for him still?
Yeah, I think he's his lawyer, or he's one of his lawyers. I don't remember his role. Everybody gets fired and changed under that administration, but it's weird because if he's staying out the obvious, what he's probably also doing is saying how they're clear. You know what I mean? He's like saying, well, this is what happened, and again, to blame like the Clintons, to blame anybody else, right? And that just makes me want to actually research that a little more, because that's pretty gross, dude.
Yeah, and there's new stuff coming out every day.
Yeah.
So like every conspiracy, there's gonna be a lot of shit missing. You know, there's gonna be a lot of shit that don't add up from A to B. You know, they go from A to F. You know, they skip some steps, and
I'm glad people are like actually not letting this fall. Like,
try
not
to
letting
show
drop
you
it.
that,
Yeah.
And then it's our responsibility to pull that rabbit out of that hat, you know, and be like, here it is. That's your magic trick. But that's the hard part, because everybody's doing magic tricks. Everybody, you know, the news, fucking politicians,
business
owners, businesses, corporations.
That's why they call it politics.
Instagram fucking made masters out of that shit for fucking rookies, you know, for just regular people. Regular people are magic tricking that shit.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
So
stuff.
don't believe everything you see.
Yeah.
Look into it. Don't believe everything I say. I'm just researching like everybody else off the internet. That's what we have, you know. That's our tool. Because if you put on the TV, not only are you barely gonna get news, you're gonna get flooded with commercials. You know, it's like 3 minutes of news, 5 minutes of commercials. It's like, what the fuck do I want to watch this? And usually it's the same narrative. You go from news station to news station, you're gonna hear the same stories with different opinions. You know, where they, you know, one side's gonna paint their narrative and they're gonna hand out that script to everybody, or however they do it, because there's some sketchy shit online where news reporters are saying the same exact shit just on different days even. But there's compilations of the same exact words, different newscasters, different news stations saying the same exact script, sometimes on the same day. But sometimes they'll recycle that shit and they'll throw it to a small town, you know, like let's give it to a few small towns now. And that's how they do it, man. It's media. It's a team of writers. I don't know who sponsors these writers. It's probably the parties, you know, and whoever's lobbying, because they're all ran by commercials. So those commercials you're watching are paying millions of dollars for us to watch these shows, to watch these debates go down. Yeah. And it's just,
I think what we're doing, like you just said, right? We don't know. Like, go research it. We could be getting stuff wrong. We could be doing this. And what the most important thing we're doing now is we're having discussion, right? We represent so many different parts of life, like a business owner, somebody the working man who has like the 9 to 5, artist, father, activist. When we're all multiples of those, right?
Toy seller, like a motherfucker.
But the fact is, you know, we're all hustlers, or whatever we call it, you know. But the fact is we are having these discussions. We don't always agree, and we have conversations with people. Sometimes to fuck with them, but we are having discussions to understand it, right? Like what we were saying earlier, like people who watch the news, like I watch the news to see what people are getting and what they're interpreting. Yeah. Like that's the shit they're spewing, right? And but also to get a better understanding about that, and to have the discussion, which like this platform is so important for stuff like that, right? And the people that are listening can we say, you know, we will have these discussions, and people are invited to come on if they want to discuss it even more, you know, but not just have diarrhea of the mouth.
Yeah, that's how I watch all this, all the like the news. I get it from every side. I go on YouTube at night, at the end of the night, and I watch all kinds of shit, dude, from both sides, bro. And I just laugh.
And who's making fun of it or who's being serious?
Yeah, I like Trevor Noah, his take on it.
They clearly just bash each other now.
That's all it is.
Part.
Yeah, that's all it is. One side bashes the other side.
They clearly say the names now, and they talk mad shit, dude.
Oh yeah, straight up. Yep, ain't no.
Yeah, they're very dismissive. Yeah.
Ain't no
but
more.
That's what they want us, because then that gets us fighting with the other side. We can't think of it any other way.
Do you ever
watch it every day?
Do you ever see it when they talk about? They actually talk about like good shit, but they talk about it as in a bad way. Mm-hmm. They'll be like, the left want they want healthcare for everybody. It's like,
how are you gonna pay for that?
Yeah, that is
it's funny. It's or even like I'll see it on both sides.
To pay for it.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of stuff too when it's when we're talking about immigration, which is the big hot topic right now. But it's like saying we do need a system that's put in a place where people can come here safely. Mm-hmm. Like people are talking about open borders, like that is so unsafe, like on so many different levels. And but you got human rights activists that are just looking at one aspect of it and saying, no, you got to understand there's other levels. There's levels to this, like Shrek says. An onion.
There's levels to everything.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. Like on the way here, I was watching that little video clip. Remember that we were watching on the way here?
What up?
We were watching a little video clip on the way here about like how we got to this moment in civilization through other people's help, and those other people are, like the they called them the Ant-Men back then, which is pretty much the Anunnakis they call them. But it was crazy because like it was started off in where was the first location? I forgot, but they built like an underground thing that was nearly impossible to build for any catastrophic event, and they said they saved a lot of people, and that's how they kept the civilizations going.
Where's this at?
I forgot. I could play the video.
Peru,
I got it right here.
Oh,
yeah, it was Peru, the first one, but I was just gonna play it because it leads into Arizona, so I was gonna play the Arizona part. From the Hopi tribe, how they helped the Hopis to catastrophic events. And they show it pretty much explains it all. Watch, I'll let you listen to this
Anunnaki. Who? So Anunnaki's a tribe?
No, they're the
ancient race.
The ancient race, yeah. And they say, watch, I'll let you listen to it.
So the Anunnaki were the ones that like they derived from like the 12th planet and like came here, kind of sparked off some stuff.
Yeah.
Found not in the Middle
You were
East,
talking about that last
Asia,
time, right?
Or India.
A few times I think we've touched
that
on it with Zacharias Sitchin. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Northeastern Arizona. Sprawled across this desolate and arid region lie the Three Mesas, settlements of the Native American Hopi tribe that some have long believed align with the stars of Orion's belt. Onalam, Onatak, and Mintaka. In addition to their strong ties to the constellation of Orion, the Hopi also have numerous legends of the Ant People, an advanced race of beings that came to the aid of mankind.
I've seen some of these carvings on the rock cliffs in Arizona. The Ant People helped the Hopi survive two major cataclysms. The destruction of the first world by fire, some kind of asteroid strike, or perhaps a comet hit the Earth, and the second world by ice, maybe a pole shift. But each time, the Ant People led the Hopi down into caverns and helped them survive in a subterranean world.
This story is strikingly similar to that of the Watchers who sought to protect the humans that they had interacted with. You have to wonder, are the Ant People somehow related to, if not the same as, the Watchers of the biblical story?
But what ancient astronaut theorists find most fascinating about the story of the Ant People is what they are called in Hopi.
The Hopi word for ant is Anu, and the Hopi word for friend is Naki. So you put the two together, the Anunnaki, the ant friends that the Hopi have interacted with for centuries and millennia. And this ties in with the Bible and with Sumerian mythology. It's all tied in together. These ant people are pervasive in human history.
So the Ant People, I'm gonna have to look into that.
Yeah, I never heard of that. That's new to me.
Hell yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
So there's carvings in Arizona, huh?
And there's carvings on the Himalayas. on strict vertical walls, dude. They're like, how is any kind of human being back then gonna take the time to climb up a vertical wall like 300, 400 feet? They're all like, they had to have some type of aerial
escalator.
Yeah,
or there could be little ants
or something. Just climbed on top of each other, people, like, so they got it. But yeah, there's carvings on the Himalayas, dude. Like,
man, that's
on
crazy.
that clip they talk about that too.
I might have to look into
carvings there, and then the underground, the whole underground they built out in Peru.
Is that why they call it man people? Because they
burrow down.
The ant people, yeah.
And they can climb up walls.
They were all subterranean, underground.
They hide them down under the people.
That's where ants live,
the
right?
Civilians.
There's ant holes and shit. And
that's how they work. They build these.
Yeah, and
there's
another place too that they mentioned where they built in China. They have like the biggest tunnels down there, dude. Their tunnels are so fucking crazy. They're like, it's insane. They're
and
like,
Giuliani fucking dropped the heat on that one.
Dropping some knowledge.
But yeah, it looked like Giuliani was spitting that. That shit was hilarious. The ant people.
True,
so
man.
how'd you bump into these ant people, Brody?
How do you bump into them?
No, like how did you bump into all this?
Yeah,
info?
how'd you find that information on the ant people?
I need to look into the ant people now too. This is my first time hearing the ant people.
Yeah,
so.
okay.
But in other words, they're called the Anunnakis. They say, and like as they say, how they help the Hopis. They're aligned with the Orion, and there's been believed that they're either living in the Orion or the nebulae. So, which makes sense, you know. There's a whole connection right there already going on. So,
where they come from.
Damn,
it's pretty crazy.
Trip.
Yeah,
I'm gonna look into the ant people for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can watch this whole episode. I'll let you check. I'll give you the link.
Those ancient
it's only like
aliens.
5 minutes, but you can listen to the whole episode.
Send me the link. I'll post all these links that we listen to, so people could go and
listen the full episode.
Listen to the full thing.
Yeah,
full
for sure.
Because Giuliani,
he don't
dropped the heat.
Yeah, he's fucking out here dropping bombs like Funk Flex.
Dropping bombs like the Funkeros. That's what we talking about.
So what do you got for us, Mr. Seiks? On the
I got so the first thing I was watching the Netflix documentary or it's a docu-series. So it's called The Family.
I still haven't watched it. I need to watch it.
It's so I was just going to read this little write-up that they have on it, so that way I don't kind of put my influence on it. I'm going to read what they read, and then I can say what I thought afterwards.
Oh, okay.
Sounds good.
Perfect.
So it says, in Netflix docuseries, The Family, director Jesse Moss delves into the once secretive world of the Fellowship Foundation, also known as The Family. That is a Christian organization with a devotion to using politicians to evangelize the word. Evangelize the word.
Evangelize, yeah.
That's what I was trying to say. Okay. So, in a nutshell, basically what we were talking about politics and everything. So, what just to say a little part, what I remember is when they were talking to these guys that they call the family. It's this really old group of people that have been existing, and what they say is like in the Bible, they were referencing the Christian Bible, and they were talking about like King David, all of these people of power, and that they were messengers of God, Jesus specifically, because there's a lot of different gods out there. So theories of, and so the theory that he was projecting out is that these people were messengers and that they were given this position, so what they do is they just guide those people, which is they've been given the word of God, so they look out for these people in position of power, and they kind of let them do their thing. So let me read the rest of this. But I thought that was interesting just to start, because depending on what you believe in, because they all put their hand on Trump, and they were like, this is the guy.
All of them.
And I'm thinking I know, my theory. So we'll get into that. But the rest of the
corporate coup is over, man.
Yeah.
What are you reading, a synopsis?
Yeah, this was the, watch, we'll get into that, Alto, because that's a good one, what Alto's talking about. But
what was that, Alto? Let me write it down.
The corporate coup. Like the coup d'etat, the corporation, because they've been putting people in seats of power for a long, long time, man.
Yeah. Oh, and I think the family might be
done now.
The family might be the biggest influence
in America for sure right now. So it's called The Family. It got 3 stars out of 5.
A lot of Trump supporters went and downvoted that shit.
They were like, I'm not feeling this. So it says the docuseries is based on the research and writing of Jeff Charlotte, a religious scholar who stumbled upon the family by chance in 2002 when he spent time living at a remote compound in Arlington, Virginia called Ivanwald. The brothers who lived at the Ivanwald were young men and new recruits for the fellowship who believed that they were followers of Jesus and doing God's work by serving his elected leaders, politicians. Charlotte chronicled his time in Ivanwald and information he discovered via 2 books, The Family and C Street. So he got invited into this spot. The dude, Jeff Charlotte.
The dude who wrote the book?
Yeah, he's also the guy reading, he's the narrative for the docuseries. So he talks about how he met this group of guys through a friend was like, yeah, I'm into this religion and it's really dope. And he's like, you should come by, man. So he invited him out to one of these meetings. And he said that they have a Bible, but that it's not a holy Bible or anything. It just says Jesus. And they took out just like, I don't know, like certain sections of the book. And that's all that they follow in that little small book. So
like the slave Bible?
It's kind of like more just like we're only going to follow these. It's like a specific,
thin book.
Yeah, it's like we're only going to acknowledge these slivers of like this information.
It's like black leather cover with just like Jesus and gold or silver. I don't remember.
Gold.
Have you ever seen the slave Bibles?
Oh, no.
The ones that they used to preach to the slaves back during when slavery was going on. Basically like the stories of Exodus and all the stories of like liberation aren't in the Bible, but it's exactly what you're talking about. Exactly, like how did they use that to control?
Yeah, and they would rise up if they found those stories to be true. Like, oh, anybody can rise up and make this happen. So check it out. So the leader, he died. It says led by the late Doug Coe, popularly referred to as the Stealth Billy Graham. Yeah, so Billy Graham's the dude who's out there like touching people.
That pastor dude, right?
50,000 people strong.
Fuck yeah, dude, that fool sells out. Is he
stadiums,
still alive?
Arenas, bro.
I don't know if he's alive still.
But he's just viejito. I watched the dude. I think he's dead. I watched a documentary on him on Netflix.
Yeah.
If you guys want to learn about that, watch that.
Yeah, that's a good one too. So this is the Stealth Billy Graham. So he's the one in the shadows.
He's the one that had the earpiece, right?
What's his name? James Coe or some shit.
This dude's name was Doug Coe.
Doug Coe.
Doug Coe.
That's the dude.
So the Fellowship Foundation fundamentally operates as an invisible theocracy in Washington, D.C., recruiting politicians to join the family and using influence to affect legislation. It's remained mostly behind the scenes, although you've probably heard of it, its biggest annual gathering, the National Prayer Breakfast. On the surface, the Fellowship doesn't seem that off from any other evangelical movement. Its newly made website touts a belief in following Jesus, 2 great commandments to first love God and then your neighbor. And the organization seems merely devoted to fulfilling Jesus' great commission to share the gospel to the nations. So that's like their biggest push is what they were doing is going around to all these countries like Gaddafi, like during the time when the U.S. had this big beef with Gaddafi and nobody could travel to like the Middle East and all these other they were going over there without passports illegally, and they got to meet Gaddafi, and so slowly the influencer change is coming, but if they believe in like same-sex marriage, the minute you have somebody that is against that same-sex marriage, their influence is going to come out in that. So that's not, and they're dealing with politics, which is not supposed to be mixed with religion at all.
At all.
So where does the religion start and your faith belief end, where politicians, your job starts, and what's best for the people is supposed to be.
Calling.
Yeah. So, and here's the quick little part that I was going to tell you. This is the best part, kind of. So the family, however, unpacks how exactly the Fellowship derives from Scripture and turns into yet another political entity abusing faith to obtain power. Firstly, the fellowship waters down the Bible and distributes its own book that includes just the 4 Gospels and the book of Acts. So that's all that's in that little book, Dolo. And secondly, the docuseries argues that the fellowship ascribes to the belief that politicians were not just elected by U.S. citizens, but are imperfect vessels chosen by God to lead. But the word is imperfect.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So they make mistakes and, you know, they do, killings and all this stuff. But, you know, they're like watchers. You know, they're just not going to intervene. That's God's job.
God's the perfect one.
Yeah. So this belief, along with the idea that when you sin, you only need to repent to be forgiven, gives elected politicians a way to avoid accountability when they stumble in office, and uplifts the belief that God only chooses a select few, not everyone. The organization goes as far as to recall on King David and how even after he raped Bethesda and ensured the death of her husband, God allowed him to remain king. So if you guys don't know, this dude King David,
El Rey David.
David and Goliath, David?
Que cantaba el Rey David.
I believe he became king after.
Yeah.
That's where that comes from.
Yeah.
So before he killed that giant, because you know he killed a giant with a stone, right?
Yeah, David and Goliath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
He got stoned and killed the giant.
This dude, I forgot the name of her husband, but this chick, Bethesda, was apparently married, and he was like his military guy or whatever, her husband. So this dude bangs her, King David bangs her, and he's like, kill her husband, you know what I'm saying? Like, so no evidence, you know. God allowed him to remain king. So cumulatively, and this is a story, by the way, I'm just reading the narrative, you know. Make your own connections. You follow King David, find out about King James, all these people, you know what I'm saying?
LeBron James?
Huh?
LeBron James?
Yep.
Hey.
Or King J.
LA Laker or King J.
The most electrifying news anchor of all time.
I never seen him and LeBron James in the same room. They may be the same person.
A quick fact, the name James, which I have, is the most popular name of the 21st century, so it's not a good trait.
There's a lot of James out there.
A lot of Jameses. That's why that's why I'm Seiks Lazar, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you can't be a trading card, you know, without your nickname.
Too many out there.
Yeah, too many out there.
Last little paragraph though, cumulatively around 5 hours long. That I had to watch it twice because I fell asleep a couple times.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's long. It's like some long ass shit. But
that's what she said, huh?
Yeah. 5 hours long.
No way.
The family attempts to unpack and scrutinize over 80 years of activity conducted by the Fellowship Foundation and its constituents. It's 5 episodes, each tackle a separate topic. Episode 1 explores Charlotte's experience at Ivanwald.
Yeah, when he gets there and all that.
Yeah, when he kind of meets these dudes and they tackle him down, and it was like him getting jumped into God's gang.
Oh shit!
No way. Yeah,
they
dude.
jumped what the fuck?
They were pushing him down, and they were like, all of them were like jumping on him and putting force down on him. And he said, "I think this is the way that they treat, because all of them are into sports. All of them are into like kind of like alpha male type shit, dude.
They're all like, you can't cry about it. Like Jesus wouldn't cry. Jesus wasn't a pussy.
Yeah, like straight up. Yeah, like Jesus wasn't a punk. Like
no way. They like use his name like that
too.
And like for him to look into sports people, he donned them people. Like those are gifts from God. Like these champions and stuff. And well, King David, you know, this little motherfucker was counted out by, or he wasn't a king back then. You know, just David. He was a kid and he had a slingshot and
took down Goliath.
He took down Goliath and, you know, Nephilim.
So Goliath down.
Young Nephilim took fucking Goliath out.
So with a little stone, he was stoned and he stoned him. So
it's crazy as you're talking about that. Like that goes into a lot of the correlations with the church.
Yeah.
And the stuff I was talking about and how.
Well, that's their narrative, right?
Well, yeah. Like it was
So
a couple years ago, what they did was they signed on City Hall, in front of City Hall, the Diocese of Phoenix, the Sofo Collaborative people that I were talking about. That's that
new fuss spot, or
that's that the Sofo Collaborative. That's that group that was on that the Sagrado Galleria, the Remax, their little kind of collective of people who are trying to control the money, the flow of money. that's going into South Phoenix, and that's where it goes into like you have to be connected with them as an artist. You have to be connected with them as an organization in order to get this money. That's what they're trying to control. But anyways,
so you got to buy into their
literally.
Yeah, you got to buy into their membership.
So you as an artist, right? You could say, all right, I will sign this contract with you for you to get me jobs that are going in wherever all these places. They'll get a cut of this percentage of this. But if you go out on your own to get a job, they still get a cut of that for like I forgot how many every years. But that was one of the things they're working on. But the point is,
they did that a long time ago too. So all the Michelangelo, all of those people were none of them could really do the artwork that they wanted to do. They were hired by these churches, and that's when they used to hide.
Well, imagine how many great artists were back in the Renaissance, but it was somebody like Da Vinci was like, to say, all right, you as a church, we're gonna pick you and have you representing. You're gonna be going down into history. Think about all the artists that
didn't make it.
Yeah, and that's why Da Vinci put a lot of these little codes of whatever in his artwork. But the point is, they signed this thing called it was something virtues
peace treaty
of like family virtues, right? And it was basically saying how they would go into whatever they're doing to support families and this and that. But it wasn't. I don't believe there's any black groups involved. The whole doctrine was very anti-gay. It was and very pro Catholic active. Latino.
Yeah.
So if you're not Latino, if you're not Catholic.
Go fuck yourself.
Right? Yeah, all these different things, but what exactly what you're talking about is how the church uses to influence and like politicians and organizations. They all signed this, right? Because they're like, cool, it's just a cool thing for us to agree on. Yay, let's pat ourselves on the back.
Hey, they're all members of the same church.
But exactly.
But the code's not just the regular influence.
No,
Vato's been there for decades. There's pictures of every president, and he's in the background of all these pictures, bro.
But when I say about that, like when we think about like these really high powers and this and that, I like to shrink it back down so we can say that's how it's literally happening in our neighborhoods. That's literally happening within our city, and so that we're like, oh man, it's not crazy conspiracies.
Yeah,
these are literally happening right now. Like
they even said it. This is documented information that they said was secret, and it's still been documented, and that's why they say hiding in plain sight, because they're literally putting it all out there. And then they just, if you go and search for it,
thankfully,
you'll find it.
A lot of that is credited to the people that run the FOIA that got all that petition.
The what?
The Freedom of Information Act.
Yeah, freedom.
Because you petition. You can petition if you suspect that the government is up to something with some kind of administration or agency or whatever. You can petition to get some of those documents declassified and shit, so people can review what they're doing.
Yeah.
Well, these guys got outed by one of the group members got caught
big time
cheating on his wife, and he actually dropped a bomb in a news conference. Dude, he snitched in front of the world.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't kill him,
Yeah, I got so that was episode 1. The leading into what Tolo's saying, episode 2, it uncovers the fellowship's ties to C Street and how the organization subsidized housing for Congress members, and like how they were just giving them like, so you work for us now, it's the mob, and like the mob, one guy messed up, he fucked up, and he snitched on the other so he can buy some time and like get some like protection. So episode 3 and 4 show how the fellowship spreads its influence to other nations.
Oh yeah.
Argues that the election of Donald Trump is a dream come true for the organization. That the family attempts to unpack a lot in a short period of time. Mostly they kind of try to like defend when they were busted a lot of these times, how they were never convicted but they were dealt meddling in politics when religion really doesn't fit into that molding, but it's the money that is the power and the influence.
Well, that kind of nullifies separates state from church.
Yeah.
Because, dude, it's ran by church 100%, and that's their church. It's not even a conventional church.
That's where Mike Pence comes in.
The Vatican.
First you get the money,
they have the national.
You get the power.
Yeah. And
so you guys know what the national prayer breakfast is?
That's kind of like what this is right here. So this picture that I'm showing,
that's during the first one of them.
Exactly. Okay. So it's Donald Trump, and it's all the leaders of the family. Breakfast. Yeah, that they plan a yearly breakfast, and they have the top politicians from the U.S., from around the world, people making moves that have money, big money.
The Anunnakis.
They invite them all down.
And they pray.
They pray.
And they eat breakfast.
And they talk about the future.
So this dude Doug Cole and company have brought that national prayer breakfast to other countries now. So there's other countries that are doing the same shit because they're part of the same organization.
These fools even pray right before congressional meetings on the right wings
all the time. Yeah,
swear on the Bible.
Remember they prayed for Obama's death and for his family to go back to Kenya right before a congressional meeting.
Yeah, I don't remember that one.
No
bring it up, Alto.
Yeah, bring it up, Alto.
Bring it up.
But yeah, it's a trip, man. How that's something that I'm hella against. It is how religion has infiltrated everything, man, and it has the majority say, in this country.
That's what I was leaning towards. So if you look at the way we project to the rest of the world, we project pretty heavy that we're pretty badass and we're this dominant fucking species, and that we're doing it big over here. So everybody else's religion is inferior, and instead of looking at a big world level of respecting everybody, they're like, no, we're the chosen few. We got the knowledge, we do have the money and the power, and we're going to swing, our influence to these other nations so we can show them Jesus. We can show them the 6-page manual. We pray over them, and we indoctrinate them into our bigger family of, like world dominancy, Hey, just to say, in the Bible, doesn't it say, like, manifest destiny, which was... God's plan for man is to rule from sea to shining sea, which is what we put our heart on over our heart, and we say when we pledge allegiance to the United States of America.
I think so.
So like that's been a plan since 1776, fellas. That jump off has been in effect.
So it was David Perdue, and he said his prayer key points were let his days be few, and let another take his office.
This is about Obama.
Let his children be fatherless, and his wife a widow.
Before a congressional
meeting, man.
Wow.
Those are cycles.
Let his children be continually vagabonds and beg. Let them seek bread also out of their desolate places. Let the extortioner catch all of the hath, and let the stranger spoil his labor. Let there be none to extend mercy unto him, neither let there be any favor for his fatherless children. Let his prosperity be cut off.
Let
his prosperity be cut off, and in the generation following, let their name be blotted out.
Wow. It does say
his name.
Yeah, in their strongest point, it says the document argues is it's not about faith, it's about power.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah. Pura fuerza.
Yeah. That's what you want. That's what everybody wants, is the power. Since the beginning of time, man, that's been the battle.
Struggle.
Genghis Khan almost fucking conquered
the world.
He almost
did it. Yeah, he almost did it.
Mm-hmm. That motherfucker was savage,
Hey, you know what his plan was, though? He was just impregnating the planet.
Yeah, dude, there's, I think, a percentage of China.
One third. No, the whole planet.
1/3.
The whole. If you have a little heart, like a brown shape, like little like birthmark on like your lower hip or your ass, like that's a descendant directly of Genghis Khan. Look it
up.
Shut up. Look it
up.
That's
what I have.
Look it up.
And my uncle's actually telling us that. Whatever.
Look, hey, see, right? So there's some tales about that, then, right? Like that
it's right here on my butt.
Yep, and he's impregnated, like he's put his influence that much into this world.
He's nutted up in a bunch of different.
Nutted up.
He's got nut in you, Franco.
I know.
Yeah. 0.5%.
This booty goes back.
Here's my other thing.
Population of the world.
Woo, there it is. You hear Alto? One more time, Alto. What was it?
0.5% of the male population in the world, or roughly 16 million descendants living today.
He skeeted in a gang of holes.
He was just fucking
He was just skeeting up in there.
Yep.
He was skeeting.
The molecular structure.
1 in 200 men.
The other documentary that I watched was The Great Hack. I wanted to tie that into Netflix docuseries because
is that one good?
It was all right. I liked it, but the scary part about that is that all the information that we put out there online, they're compiling, and they sell it back to us. And so
now it's being like filtered.
Yeah.
You know, so Google doesn't want you reading about certain stuff, so they put it at the end. You know,
yeah,
like that.
You know how they say your creator, God, will project on a screen all your sins and this and that? I kind of think like that when you talk about AI and all that stuff. They're going to be like, here's your browser history.
Yep. No, check this out. That is 100% exactly what would happen. So in this documentary, what Jesse was talking when we were having a discussion off
by your creator,
the podcast, was that he was offering the theory, what if they started blackmailing people and saying, I'm going to release your browser history to the world. I'm going to release all your digital informational history to the world. That means if you do whatever you do, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, social, whatever. So that's more frightening to these people nowadays because it's no longer the walls that are built around you that you do this shit on. You're doing it in a platform that's digital, that there's a trace to everything. So check this out. It says the film ends up looking like the latest attempt by the establishment to undermine our democratic choices. The film's message is that Brexit, which is a company, we'll talk about Brexit in a second, and Trump voters were automatons, stripped of their critical faculties and brainwashed into compliance by a few provocative Facebook ads. The filmmakers might as well have called it the Great Hypnotism. The filmmakers also seem to forget that there were campaigns for Remain and for Hillary Clinton supported by big business and by much of the mainstream media. The all-powerful Cambridge Analytica, who's the holders of this informational knowledge, adverts did not exist in isolation. The documentary devotes a great deal of time to uncovering how Cambridge Analytica targeted voters, groups according to an emphasized profile, and ran certain ads to appeal to their sensibilities and prejudices. So what that means is when it compiles up all the information and it feeds us to us, like it knows what we like.
Yeah.
And then it tells you like, hey, would you vote for this person based off of what you like, you know?
Yeah.
And so they created those systems. There's people that write these codes that they hired that they said did not work for them, and they lied. The dude who does Facebook, what's that alien? Mark Zuckerberg. I think he's a reptile-looking motherfucker.
Well, that's what surveys are for and all that, you know.
All that
surveys
shit
pop up all the time, you know, for a free gift card or whatever.
You don't need surveys anymore.
Hey,
everything you type in is a survey.
He's got those weird bangs.
Yeah, he's got weird eyes and like
a weird face.
He looks like he doesn't sweat. You know what I'm saying? He looks like he don't sweat.
It looks like he breathes through his skin.
Exactly. Or his eyes. It looks like he breathes through his eyes.
He sweats internally. He's a backwards man.
Trump has spent $4.6 million on Facebook ads since
That's
December.
how he kills it. That's how he got voted into the presidency.
$4.6 million on Facebook ads since December.
Oh yeah, they kill it.
Hey, that's why they say he's gonna win the next election, is because of his ad campaigning.
And then it's targeting immigration too.
Yep.
They're saying like 2,200 to 2,000 of his ads or have the word immigration involved in them and shit.
Yeah. So he gets a lot of people through.
Oh yeah, immigration is the hot topic.
Fear-mongering, man.
Another 4 years past. It's gonna be a hot topic.
Well, here's just going into that. So they keep selling us the same ticket. It's a wolf ticket, and it says, look, at its core, this isn't so different from electioneering techniques that have existed for decades. So if you think about just going back to like kings being, voted into position, most of them claim the hierarchy of God.
Kings weren't voted.
No, you see what I'm saying? Like God put them there.
Oh,
that was their vote. Yeah, that was their vote. Was that they're the divine family and that they should be ruling over the rest of the people, the populace. But the poppies. They're, it's all status quo. In order to change people's minds, how else do these politicians campaign? They go to the streets, they pick up artists, and they say, hey man, do me this dope mural. Going into Obama, he got Shepard Fairey to do that to reach the communities, you know, and they had pictures of Obama playing basketball, you know, dribbling between his legs, chilling with Jay-Z. You know, they know what to do to get so they wanted the vote from the people that don't vote. So he said change the game. Alto said change the game to where we can flip it to our own.
Because we're getting our invented.
Yeah, we never took it. So these fools came to the hood and picked up hip hop and was like, we're gonna get P. Diddy to wear a T-shirt, that says "I voted." Rock the vote. What the fuck happened when they did that "Rock the Vote"?
Every time they went to commercials.
John Kerr or whatever.
Yeah,
Steve Kerr. What was his name?
Whatever that dude.
He ran against
Kerry.
John Kerry.
Yeah, was it John Kerry?
Yeah. They were going for John Kerry. I was like, dude, you guys are all full of shit.
So they know that we drink Ciroc. They know that fucking P. Diddy owns Ciroc. They know that fucking P. Diddy, if they pay him, he'll wear a T-shirt.
And that's what this AI is doing even more. And the algorithms, man, is giving them all the information that they need, and they're data mining it.
Data mining, that's the key.
And they're storing it and storing it, feeding it to AI.
Yeah.
So AI not only learns us, but it learns how to tempt us.
Yeah.
You know, and we're like, our will is weak. You know, and we're like things that we go for and shit, things that we might roll the dice on and shit. Like, that's just dangerous, man. Like,
impulses. It takes your human impulses and it feeds you back.
It learns
to them,
you.
Straight up.
Yeah. That's what they want. And that's how they ain't even got to take us to war, man. We're going to they're putting us at war with ourselves.
In your mind.
In your soul, in your very mind.
I think that's why that's why Trump's going to be reelected, right? Because I've been taking like kind of these dates down for a while, but May 13th, that's when the really everybody was all up in arms. But that was when Alabama rolled out that abortion thing, right? A week or so before that it was Georgia and I think Ohio, but that was in May. About the 22nd, 23rd of June. That's when the ice raids really started ramping up. That's when they were saying, that's when we're going to do shit. This is like a month by month. On the 15th of July, that's when Trump said the mean things about go back to your country. He said that whole racist shit.
To the ladies.
Yeah. The 28th, there was a mass shooting. I think that was a Gilroy one. The 3rd of this month, there was 2 mass shootings that was back to back, the El Paso and Ohio. So this is going back 3 months, and these are really big topics that people are, you know, like I said, they're throwing out Facebook, they're throwing out all this stuff. Pray, you know, hearts with El Paso, Trump's a racist, this and that. Today, nobody's talking about them at all. The abortion,
they're not even trending.
Exactly. So we're gonna think like we can't even. Like shit like that's not even going on, and we're really not even changing stuff like that anymore, from the abortion to whatever I just said, all that stuff. And it's like we can't even fucking focus on that. You think we're really going to focus on getting this guy out of office? You think people are really going to do that? They're not. And it's like, because they can't follow through with shit, and that's what we're saying, like the whole left and the right, blah blah blah. And then right here on our phones, on our computers, on that media, all that shit, that's how it's being decided. And that's why I personally think Trump's gonna win a second term, because nobody acts. Everybody likes to talk about it, and everybody likes to look and search and post shit, but nobody acts on it to change it. And I said it earlier, like when people are just saying the news is too depressing, I'm gonna be disenfranchised, and that's why it works, and that's why. But I also think that's why Trump's really good, because he is exposing all that of the corruptness, and there are people who aren't normally involved in those conversations, and that don't normally act, that they're actually feeling forced to act, and they're. It is your civic duty, more or less, you know, because it's kind of like your civic duty to be anti-government. Because it's so fucked up. Because it's so.
You gotta be ran by the people, not the people in office, but the people, the civil.
Not the powers that be.
The civilians.
Powers that be. The 600 fucking.
The civilians.
Congressmen and.
Not the families.
I think we got for over 2 hours. Let's do our closing thoughts, and we'll continue this discussion next week. How's that sound, fellas?
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. Sounds like a Buki.
Sounds like a Buki. Brody, any closing shots? Closing shots. Like that. Shots.
No, I just think that was a good show, guys, and shout out everyone tuning in. The great Beyond.
Yeah.
No, yeah, but for sure.
I like your shirt. It's a
I'm
pair
gonna
of
look in.
headphones.
I'm gonna look in about these fucking the ant people. I'll have some more research on that for next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, but all these shirts, a pair of headphones. Watch out to the camera over there. But it's creating an alien face. Look. An alien head. That
Oh, it
shit's
is.
dope.
It is
Yeah.
tight.
Yeah. I never noticed that. You've worn that shit before.
Is that intentional?
I think so, right?
So the
It has to
the
be.
earbuds are the eyes, right?
Yeah.
Or the phone?
It's got to be intentional, right?
Yeah.
What's the name of that brand? Do you know?
Alienware. No, I'm just playing.
That's the computers.
I look at the tag. That's told as fuck.
Psych Lazar. Closing thoughts.
It's a good show. I think this one touched on a lot more things that we can all relate to. So, you know, some of those things we can make changes on, like Alto was saying. So we can flip the script and start to change, our own neighborhoods and the places where we came up and, places that need help. You know, we definitely should, look into ways and find solutions, not just, talk about how bad those places are or the lack of, but maybe come with solutions and try to find, ways to combat that, what they're doing, and it's evident. So obviously if we know what's happening, we just need to focus more on like those changes. So yeah, it kind of opened my eyes and I got to look into seeing some ways of how I can contribute to, getting information and changing the place where I come from and, making things happen. But yeah, it's good information, man.
Whole lot.
Alto.
Yeah, man, that was a good one and shit. We touched on a lot of shit, different kinds of stuff. So there's a lot of shit that our government does that a lot of people don't know about, man. That our tax dollars are being spent on. That doesn't benefit anybody directly in the communities that they come from, locally and like on a national fucking scale and shit. So I don't know, man. There's like this big plan, I guess, to keep the common man down. There's only one way to do it, and that's to unite and drop all the indifferences, I guess, and shit, and just get together. Yeah, see what's up.
Hell yeah. Franco.
Yeah, so a lot of stuff I talked about. I got the information from a book called Bird on Fire: Lessons from the World's Least Sustainable City. I believe the author is Andrew Ross, and it's pretty much about Phoenix and how there's very little rainfall. The water rights are being cut for like tribes and even like the cities, the residents of the city, and yeah. So if you want more information, I definitely highly recommend getting that book. Vote yes on 105. If any real change is going to come, it has to come through a political and social change rather than a technical aspect. And one of those things that we're doing is in South Phoenix, KDIF. Shout out to what's going on down there. August 29th, we're going to have a big graph session. About 20 to 30 people are coming out. That's going to be going on all day, 6401 South 16th Street at KDIF. Hit up the Instagram. We'll have information on there. But we're also going to be hosting an open mic later on that night. We're probably going to have some live art as well there. But again, it's any forms of talent. If you just need a mic to get up there and talk, we're teaming up with the high school that's there as well. So a lot of really great stuff coming to change a lot of these social problems that are going on. And again, if you need want any more information, feel free to hit me up at Franco_602 on Instagram, and I'll feel free to share any information. And thank Roach Clip for again giving this platform and all the shows that contributes to just different aspects of the community and just the work that's going on. It's a lot of the hustlers that are moving a lot of really great work and that's working with each other. So shout out to everybody at this table and everybody who's been a part of this family.
Hell yeah. I'd like to thank you guys again for coming, taking time out of your day, your schedule, and come and talk a little shit, informing the people of things they might not know of or might be too lazy to watch a whole 5-hour docuseries. We try to at least explain it to the best of our ability with the limited time we got. 2 hours is pretty good, though, I think, you know. I'd like to thank Jesus again, coming through, you know, cameraman.
Yeah, always, man. Jesus always holding it down in the background.
Always looking after us.
He's the silent partner right there, you know what I mean?
He is, bro. Nobody
behind the scenes right there.
Yeah.
Making us look pretty.
Motherfuckers dead out there before they get in here. I'll give a shout out to Miguelito. Stay positive. He's out in Texas, so that's why he's not here. So we'll keep him in the thoughts, prayers, whatever you do, you know. Just keep it positive and don't wish nobody bad, you know, like we learned.
Yeah.
Even in congressional meetings, they be praying for bad shit. And yeah, just keep fucking checking on that Epstein case, because that's going to be a hot ticket for years to come. We're not going to, you know, things are going to get uncovered 15, 20 years from now where you'll be like, oh shit, let's do an episode. So yeah, shout out everyone. Shout out to the listeners. Make sure to hit the Roach Clip Podcast on Instagram. Send us a message of whatever you think we missed, whatever we're misquoting, or if you think we're lying, or if you got topics for us to talk about, feel free. KDIF 102.9. Shout out to Franco. And let's do this. Let's take over Sofo. This is From the Great Beyond.
Good shit, man.
Hey, this would be a good show to add to get a bunch of sound bites from.